from. This is the Ecovangelism webinar series 1.0. And I am Dr. Onyeka Chichuku. I will be your host for this program. So what is Ecovangelism? Let's start with that. Ecovangelism is a project and that was launched with the aim of raising awareness, educating and empowering people, fostering community engagement, and promoting innovation as it regards to the environment. Now, Ecovangelism, somebody will want to know. A lot of people are curious. Immediately the flyers came, a lot of people started chatting me, contacting me, because they couldn't find the term Ecovangelism on dictionary. So Ecovangelism is a word coined out. It's a word coined out from ecology or ecosystem and evangelism. So we pulled it together, looking at the word evangelism, how religion and beliefs are being preached with passion. And of course, this passion is something that is desirable because you watch out all over the world the way religions and beliefs are being preached. You know, people are imbibing it on a daily basis. And we decided to bring it to the environmental world, where we talk about the environment, we do things that are beneficial to the environment with that same passion, that same zeal, you know, and that is why we came up with the word Ecovangelism. So this project is actually in collaboration with We Naturalists and Green Heart, that's Green Initiative for Humanitarian Aid and Development. And we aim to inspire and mobilize individuals and community towards sustainable living practices through education, action, and advocacy. Of course, the objective, I've said, is to raise awareness, increase public understanding of climate change and the impact through expert-led webinars like this and other means, educate and empower to provide actionable insight and practical tips for sustainable living, to foster community engagement, to create platforms for discussion, collaboration, and collaborative actions towards environmental goals, and to promote innovation, that is to highlight innovative solutions and success stories in sustainability. So it has so many components which I'm not going to bore you with, but ladies and gentlemen, I want to now introduce our guest speaker for the day. Our guest speaker for the day is John Abo Obodo. John Abo Obodo has forest surveying and remote sensing expertise. He is the founding director of the Sahelian Institute for Bamboo Research and Entrepreneurship Development, Cybrid, at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, in Southeast Nigeria. In his capacity as a director of Cybrid, John is a member of the International Network of Universities and Research Center related to bamboo, which headquarters is in Ecuador. He joined the Association of African Universities, AAU, Ghana's African Research, Innovation and Development Network in September 2022. Currently, he is AFRID Network Pioneer Fellow on Renewable Natural Resources. He is a United Nations Alumnus Fellow of Partnership for Action on Green Economy and the Alumnus Fellow of Social Justice Advocate of the AAU Ford Foundation International Fellowship Program, United States of America. John is a PhD researcher with the Department of Geoinformatics and Surveying at the University of Nigeria, Enugu. John Obodo received the 2021 Gregory Award from the Society of American Foresters in appreciation of his outstanding work as a PhD student researcher. Obodo holds a master's degree in geoinformation science and earth observation for natural resource management from ITC, University of Twente in Netherlands, and a Bachelor's of Forestry, Wildlife and Range Management degree from the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, Nigeria. He is an expert representing Nigeria on Global Task Force on Sustainable Bamboo Management of the International Bamboo and Rattan Organization. He is a research fellow and board member of the Center for Water Resources and Climate Change, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Nigeria, and a research associate with the Center for Sustainable Development. He has numerous articles published in Web of Science and Scopus Index journals, and 8 years previous industrial experience with 2 federal organizations, namely the National Environmental Standards and Regulation Enforcement Agency, NESRA, specifically in Owerri, from 2008 to 2014, and the Federal University, DUSIMA, Department of Forestry and Wildlife, where he worked as a lecturer from 2014 to 2016. John Abo Obodo is a founder and trustee of the Sustainable Trans-Environment International Foundation, STEFI Foundation, an environmental sustainability NGO with the motto, greening the environment and empowering people. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you John Abo Obodo. Please, John Abo Obodo, you can unmute yourself and come on.
Thank you very much. Warmest greetings from Oka, the capital city of Anambra State, where Nnamdi Azikiwe University is located. I will say good morning from Nigeria. For those of you who are joining from other parts that you are in the afternoon, it's morning time here. Please permit me to mute my video so as not to have interference with network, because where I am, I can have network challenge through the use of video as an addendum. So please permit me to just mute it. I must also thank Dr. Onyeka Chukwu, PhD in forest biometrics and remote sensing, who is also the founder of this esteemed NGO that is organizing this program today. I want to thank you and your team for the laudable things you are doing in environmental advocacy, and in no distance time, the benefits will become very impactful. The topic of our discussion today is to see how the role of bamboo can be impacted positively on mitigating climate change. And so I would like to highlight one key word from the topic, which is climate change. We will need to know what it is. Permit me to make use of the definition by the International Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC. The IPCC defines climate change as a change in the state of the climate that can be identified by changes in the mean and or the variability of climate parameters such as temperature, precipitation, or sea level.
Are you still there? I think we lost your audio. Please, you can unmute yourself. Are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you now. Carry on, sir.
Okay. Which part did you miss? Were you able to get the definition of climate change?
Yes, yes. We've gotten
Yes,
the definition of climate change.
Okay, all right. So this,
You get everything.
okay, let me repeat. Can you hear me still?
Yes, I think it's
Yes,
tough to
carry on, sir.
yes.
Okay. All right. This definition, I want to repeat it again because it's very key. Is a definition that is adapted from the IPCC Fifth Assessment Report. And it states that climate change is a change in the state of the climate that can be identified by changes in the mean, that is average, or the variability of climate parameters such as temperature, precipitation, or sea level over a particular period of time, usually decades or longer, and which may be caused by natural processes or human activities. Now, from this definition, let me also emphasize that the term precipitation
It's off again.
Okay, your audio is off again. Maybe you can try move close to a better place with the network. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So you can hear me?
Yes, yes, carry on.
Okay. So in our own part, Nigeria, we don't have snow fall. Rather, we have what we call rainfall. So it therefore means that Nigeria also within the jurisdiction of where climate change can be felt. The effect of climate change can be felt in our region using the parameter of climate change, using the parameter of temperature rise, using the parameter of sea level rise, which can also be the heat over an area above the sea level, the surface of the earth. So furthermore, for us to understand that term climate, we can know the kind of things that the phenomenon or the scenario that can also result to climate change. One of them is volcanic eruption, changes in solar radiation. Solar is sun. What are the changes? How does it affect climate change? We can also look at that. We can also look at human activities such as emissions from greenhouse gases, and then land use and land use changes, such as deforestation, urbanization, and probably climate engineering. So let me dwell more on two: greenhouse gases and land use changes. From scientists, we know that one key component of greenhouse gases is the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, we living things from our basic sciences in the secondary school, we know, especially biology, we know that all living things that are animals give out carbon dioxide through respiration, while all living things that are green plants take in carbon dioxide during photosynthesis and give us oxygen, which the animals inhale. So we breathe in oxygen and we give out carbon dioxide, while the green plants utilize carbon dioxide to manufacture their own food and give us oxygen. Oxygen is now fresh air. Bamboo, which is the key topic we are using as from the plants to interject into the effect of climate change mitigation today, is a green plant. And so ideally, we now know that bamboo also has a capacity to sequester carbon dioxide into its own biomass because it is green in nature and it's a plant. Now, let's look at the land use and land use changes. Forest is a land use when we manage it for a particular purpose, but where activities of selective logging or deforestation come in, it therefore means that as we fell our trees, we are now creating a vacuum for them for the trees to sequester carbon dioxide. So where you have a high rate of deforestation, you now create a vacuum for mitigation of carbon emission by trees. And so with the absence of trees, you are now creating excess carbon emission in the atmosphere. And it is this excess carbon emission in the atmosphere that is part of the greenhouse gases that fuel climate change. From the definition, of course, we know that climate change is over a period of time. And if we want to know that period of time in specific, then we need to also consider the World Meteorological Organization definition of a climate, which says at least 30 years. So at least 30 years means you will be looking at it for 3 decades. Not what happened last year, the deforestation that was caused last year, or the carbon emission into the atmosphere by industries that were done last year. You will not be able to refer to that is causing climate change this year. It must be something that has been done for a decade, at least 3 decades, before you'll be able to say the impact of what humans have done for like 3 decades, which is 30 years, is now impacting on us, which is the aspect of climate change, or based on the definition of World Meteorological Organization, WMO, for a climate. Therefore, the carbon that we create from deforestation is known as what we call anthropogenic type of carbon because it is done as a result of human activity. And that is the worsening part of it. Because for you to see in our own area here, to see that forest fire caused deforestation is rare because of the kind of tropical forest we have. Our trees, no matter how fire goes in, they have the capacity to regain and rejuvenate. So they are resilient, not like the kind of spruce or pines you have in some temperate regions where a fire brushes them, all of them will die from top to the root, and it will cause massive deforestation. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, carry on, sir.
Okay, I received a call, so it interfered. So what is bamboo? Bamboo, somebody is busy calling me, that's why it's interfering. Please bear with me. Bamboo plays a very key role. It is botanically regarded as a grass. It is not a tree. The reason is that its morphology, the way it is built, does not allow it to behave as a tree. So the growth rate, the growth pattern is different and looks more as a grass than a tree. So it grows faster within a short period of time.
Okay, I think we lost his audio. Please stay tight. Probably he's having network challenges.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, carry on, sir.
All right, somebody is busy interfering with by calling. So like I was saying, bamboo botanically is referred to as grass. And there are species of bamboo up to, according to the International Network on Bamboo and Rattan, INBA, which is the global authority in this topic of bamboo, says there are over 1,600 species of bamboo that are woody bamboo. The other ones are herbaceous bamboo, that's the non-woody bamboos. To tell you that there are over 2,000 species, but the relevant ones to which we are promoting now is the woody bamboo, so that they can stand in for what the normal tropical wood can do. The normal tropical redwood or the normal tropical hardwood can do. So the woody bamboo can lead to what we call avoided tropical deforestation, in the sense that they can be used to make any type of product for which our trees can also be used. So bamboo nowadays, aside the carbon sequestration capacity they have for being green and being green grass or green plants, they can be used as what we use timber for. So we use them also in making furniture. There are many, they can be converted into particle board production, and these particle boards can be used to even make tables and any household furniture that is available today that you know of wood. They can be used to make pulp, and this pulp can be converted into paper like tissue. And they can also be used in your textile industry to make the kind of fabric that wood can also be used for. So we have shirts, we have even trousers or pants, as you may call them in your own locality, coming from bamboo products. They can be used to make arts and crafts things like your kitchen kitchen utensils, the knives, the fork, the cutlery. So bamboo are used for that. They can be used for your interior decor products or items or commodities. So because of that, bamboo is now receiving a very central role within the efforts of the global community to fight climate change, because there was a global policy, which is a framework that replaced Kyoto Protocol in 2012. That global framework within the context of the United Nations is known as reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, which was basically aimed at advocating how tropical forests can be conserved. Therefore, if bamboo, which is woody, can lead to avoided tropical deforestation, therefore, it is helping in promoting and sustaining the Red Plus ideas and the Red Plus objectives. That is why bamboo is central. So, with these few uh, preamble words of introduction I've given, I will now hand over to the moderator to probably go ahead with the rest of the program. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir.
Dr. Nyeka.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Obodo, for that wonderful expose. Sincerely speaking, before now, so many people don't know we have up to 3 species of bamboo or varieties, so to say. But you are now making us to understand that we have up to 1,005. That is known. And when they say something is known, that means there are ones that are not still known. So, and these ones you've identified are woody bamboo. So, thank you for that. So, this I'm now trying to open the discussion session for this particular uh, session. Now, however, if you have a question, and we don't take you, please go, you'll see a Q&A session, a question and answer session. You can post the question there. However, if you have a question, when it's time for question and answers, you can indicate by raising up your hand, and we'll ask you to unmute yourself and ask your question. We want this session to be as interactive as possible. And that is why we went directly to Cyprus, to Sahelian Institute for Bamboo and Research and Entrepreneurship Development to get the director to talk about this. And of course, we are very sure that he has all the information we needed. Now, if you don't mind, can I just call you John or Bodo, anyone,
Yes,
please,
yes.
so that we'll
Please
sound as informal as possible, because formality
yes,
at
please go
times
ahead.
breaches learning. Thank you, sir. Now, like you have talked about bamboo, you've said so many things about bamboo. Can you tell us, is there any negative environmental impact associated with bamboo farming?
Okay, thank you. You see, one of the objectives of Red Plus is to enhance biodiversity of tropical indigenous species. And so, what bamboo farming can bring negatively would be only when you go into monoculture of bamboo over a large area of land. And even within the bamboo species, like I have said, that there are over 1,600 species that have been found to be woody across the globe by IMBA and partners. So you can see that within, if you are going to bamboo, it is encouraged that you maximize biodiversity, because the objective of bamboo plantation is to curb climate change impacts, and the world has made it has even giving monetary benefit to your cultivation of any type of thing that has to do within the climate change green fund. So for you to be able to access funding from the climate change green fund, you must promote biodiversity. It is not just by planting. So biodiversity is key. Therefore, anything that has to negate biodiversity in your farming system is a negative consequence or it's a negative idea. Now
Okay.
that everybody is wanting to go into bamboo farming, it is not encouraging, therefore, to only go into monocultural propagation of bamboo. Otherwise, it will possess or it will portray very negative consequences to the ecology or environment.
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful insight. Now, I want to also ask, because I'm curious, how can bamboo cultivation help soil erosion, uh, land rehabilitation, land recovery, and so on, as it regards to the soil? Because, like, I know in Anambra State, where your your head office is, it had been said before now that Anambra State is the headquarter of gully erosion. And I don't know how true that is, but it's in the front pages of several newspapers. So, is there by any means how bamboo cultivation can help in this regard? Because if you look at it at long run, probably that uh, erosion and whatever might be linked to climate change, flooding and stuff like that. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I drew two key concepts from your, or two categories from your question. One is on afforestation or reforestation or restoration of ecosystem by bamboo. Afforestation and restoration of ecosystem by bamboo. One aspect borders on that from your question. Then the second aspect borders on soil conservation. So let me take on afforestation / restoration of ecosystem with bamboo. Bamboo has the capacity to support ecosystem restoration because it fast growing. Within 3 years, you can have it to maturity. So when you cultivate it, it grows fastly and it gives you restore the forest back to its normal position. So it can be used to beat up any of the areas that have been deforested or degraded within a natural forest ecosystem. And because it is also a species, if you are planting it within a natural forest, where you have other tree species already, you are also encouraging biodiversity because you are adding to the biodiversity of that particular forest landscape.
Are you still there?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. So that is that on afforestation or ecosystem restoration. But coming to, apart from being in restoring forest ecosystem, you can use it also to conserve river banks. If you go to some of our rivers, you see that most species there are even bamboo. By that, it is conserving the water ecosystem. around the river bank because it will prevent siltation, which is coming as a result of run flow and making the river to get shallower and causing flooding. So bamboo can help to conserve watershed and riverine communities. So that's part of ecosystem restoration. Then coming to soil conservation, its root system, the rooting system it has makes it very suitable to reclaim erosion sites, that is erosion gullies. Because one, most erosion sites are covered or have red soils, and most crops or agricultural crops cannot even thrive in red soils. The agricultural soil crops prefer humus rich soils, the topsoil that are rich in humus. So if they cannot survive in red soils like those ones that are in erosion site or in excavated soil areas, then bamboo does not bother on that. Bamboo can thrive in any kind of soil, including those ones that are not rich in carbon or in organic matter. So bamboo has a potential of growing in those kind of soils, and then their rooting system also help to hold those soil particles together and building up the soil over time. So by that, you see that they are able to reclaim degraded areas or soil erosion sites. So with that, they are very suitable and more suitable than even some forest tree species in reclaiming erosion site than bamboo because of the nature of their rooting system.
Wow, that's great. I could remember in my 200 or 300 level when they were telling us the the characteristics of grasses. Just like we said that bamboo, because of its nature, it was characterized under grass. However, I know it also has some features of trees, but for clarity, it went to grass. And one of the characteristics is that grasses have high fecundity, they can multiply, and they are rugged in the sense that anywhere they are, their rooting system try to compact the soil, to hold the soil. So it's also in line with what I was taught in 200 or 300 level, thereabout in general agriculture. So let me not just take over this discussion. I have two hands raised, and let me allow them uh, talk. Then I will go back to series of questions I have for our speaker. Okay, David Shito, can you just unmute yourself and ask your question?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Presenter and moderator. Can you hear me, please?
Okay,
Yes,
sorry, we have confusion. Okay. Let's take Hamisu Ibrahim Ndagi. Hamisu, if you want to just tell us your country and probably the province yes, or state you are, then you ask your question. Thank you, sir.
Okay. My concern is that the topic is I think it has to do with the role of bamboo in climate change mitigation. And I don't know if the presenter actually have an idea, since he told us that if you plant bamboo within a frame of 3 years, it will be ready for harvest or it will be matured. So if you actually have the idea of what is the amount of carbon, how much carbon can bamboo store within that period of 3 years, and also if he has an idea on the comparison, relative comparison between the amount of carbon that can be stored by the bamboo within that 3 years and other tropical tree species that we have in our environment, that is within us. Thank you very much. If the question is clear, that is all. If it is clear, except if I am
okay.
Yeah,
your question is clear. I think Carry on, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Amisu. You are very correct. And bamboo, like I said, has potential for carbon sequestration. From the literature that are available, under carbon absorption, bamboo absorbs 12 to 15 tons of carbon dioxide per hectare per year, as compared to trees like oak and pines. So pines and oaks, literature says they absorb 2 to 5 tons per hectare per year. But you see the difference of carbon of bamboo, 12 to 15 hectares per tons per hectare per year. And a hectare is 100 by 100 meters. Or we can just simply adopt the definition of FAO on forest land, which is 0.5 hectares, which can be converted.
I think we lost your audio, sir.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
You heard that up to the one I said 12 to 15
Yes.
tons per hectare?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, but for the trees that I got on web from the internet on pines and oaks, which is 2 to 5 tons per hectare, is the research that have been done. So we have a research gap for us to look at our own indigenous tree species as well and see how many or how much carbon does our Nigerian indigenous tree species like mahogany, obeche, all those ones can absorb per hectare per year, so that we can compare. And also there is also a need for us to see what our own indigenous bamboo species can absorb per hectare per year in terms of carbon dioxide in metric tons. So in Nigeria, we have two types of bamboo that are readily available. The one that is in diverse form is what we call Bambusa vulgaris. That one almost from the middle belt, that is the north central axis of Nigeria, where you have the Guinea savanna up to the southern region here. What you see around is the Bambusa vulgaris. And then for the far north, we discovered during one of the research it's still ongoing, we have not completed it. We discovered lowland bamboo in the wide of Yobe State, to show lowland bamboo thrive more in arid areas that you have drought more. So, and that is why if you go to Ethiopia, you will see that the dominant species in some part of Ethiopia is the lowland bamboo because of the dryness, the arid nature of Ethiopian landscape. There is a third species of bamboo which we also found in Port Harcourt in the hotel. That one is called ornamental bamboo. We call it ornamental bamboo because it's a non-woody type of bamboo, so it grew in pots. They have it in some hotels there in the pot, and one garden also in Benue State, Makurdi precisely have that kind of bamboo. So basically, we want to confirm by this research that there are just 3 types of bamboo that are available in Nigeria for now. So we need to do more of those kind of carbon sequestration potential research to know. In comparison with trees, grasses, a grass from the literature is said to absorb 1 to 3 tons per hectare per year, but bamboo, from what I said, absorb 12 to 15 tons of carbon dioxide per hectare per year. And then agricultural crops like corn and wheat, they absorb 1 to 2 tons per hectare per year. So if you look at the comparison that Hamis is seeking, bamboo is on top, and they cannot even see the brake light of bamboo because none of these ones have passed 5. It's the oak and pines that is 5 tons, which is not even very close to 6. The half of 12 is 6, and none of the others is up to 6 tons per hectare. So you see, bamboo has a very great potential.
Thank you very much. I think that question, I still have a question down when we will talk about the challenges and research gap. But notwithstanding, I have the second person that want to ask question, David Chito. If you are ready, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to appreciate the speaker for the day for doing just well with this very topic. I have a few concerns, and one of it is you have already addressed some of the questions we I would have asked, but then you made mention of North Central, particularly Benue, and then this is a place where I am coming from, and from where I was growing up, I observed that an area where bamboo is found, this bamboo grass is found, plants find it difficult to do well in such areas. And we are evangelizing this climate change to people, and we are making them to understand that if we have this plantation of this, it can lead or mitigate this climate change. So my question now will be that what if we, now that we are encouraging people to go into this plantation in order to mitigate climate change, and it will lead to food insecurity because it doesn't allow an area that is found with this grass does not support agricultural produce to do well in such area. So how do we now manage these two concepts, knowing that food is also important and then climate change is also harmful to ourselves? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your question. Well, bamboo itself and what we are trying to do promotes food security. Take, for example, the zero hunger goal, that is SDG number 2, has one of the targets that borders on reclaiming degraded land for the purpose of arable cultivation. So if you have areas that have been excavated, areas that have been threatened by erosion, and in those areas, agricultural produce, you cannot even farm there because the soils will not support good yield from farming. What can you use? You can use bamboo to reclaim those places, thereby adding more land for your farming, for arable crop production. So you see that bamboo has a way of bringing in degraded land back to adding to your farmland where you can boost food security. That's one aspect. 2, bamboo shoots are edible. They eat bamboo shoots between 1 week, 1 to 3 weeks. They can eat them. They use them in making snacks. They use them in making beer. There is an example. If you Google search now in Kenya and in Uganda, they have bamboo beer. So they use it in making porridge like pap. So you can grind those ones and eat them. But we have to be boiled and washed very well because of their cyanide concentration, so that it will not cause harm. So they are edible and they support food security as well because they are used as diet. They support food security. 3, on the aspect you are focusing on, You are very correct that especially symposia bamboo tends to kill any other plant that is within it or within its own because of the way it expands. But we are talking of foresters, and anybody who is a forester knows about silviculture. And once you are a silviculture culturist, you should be able to know how to manage your forest products or your forest species in order to maximize their benefits. So comes if com management is one of the best things that you have to do when you are trying to combine what we call bamboo based agroforestry. You will not allow the coms, those we don't, because it is a grass, we don't call it stem. We call their trunk as coms, culm. So when it's plural, you put s to becomes. Or if it is a tree, you would have said stem of a tree. But this one now is come of bamboo. So you will need to manage those coms so that it will not be, they will not come in that symposia form to be in cluster, thereby killing any other crop or any other plant that is within them. So that is one aspect. Com management is one key aspect you need to know. And if you Google search now, Google search bamboo based agroforestry, you will see that Ghana is taking a lead in West Africa. And as a matter of fact, Nigeria is the second leading bamboo producing country in West Africa. Ghana is leading, according to IMBA. So Ghana is taking a lead in bamboo based agroforestry policy and even in cultivation. So it's thriving there. Nigeria can follow suit. Two, you can space. Spacing is key as well. You remember, we are trying to conserve our forest trees, our indigenous forest trees, because climate change experts says, in line with the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, as we have it also in the policy of REDD+, that we should conserve our indigenous tropical forest. So we are saying that bamboo grows to maturity within 3 years, and woody bamboo can do virtually what a wood in the forest can do, in an indigenous forest can do. Therefore, if you go into bamboo cultivation, within 3 to 7 years, you will be able to utilize that bamboo cultivation and leaving your own forest standing. Also, you are saving and conserving your own tropical forest, which will be helping the climate change fight for you. Then you can now be utilizing what this bamboo is for. So if you are doing that and you do it even in a monoculture, just as we have teak plantation or malana plantation that are monocultural, covering hectares of land, even in the far north, you can also do it for bamboo and be utilizing that bamboo and be selling it to generate income for yourself and doing what you are supposed to do, even doing biochar for it, doing briquettes from it, to be cooking food for yourself and leaving the natural tree species to be standing. Therefore, you are now limiting deforestation in the tropical forest and using the bamboo that you have as alternative to providing your daily needs and daily income for yourself. So that is one aspect you can look at it from, instead of from the negative aspect that is not going to help anything because it kills other plant species. The second part, which has to do with bamboo-based agroforestry, is you can leave the gap. For example, 7 meters in between is encouraged. Where you want to plant in like cover crops like maybe beans or cowpeas, you can leave 7 or cucumber, you can leave 7 meters 3 meters apart. Where you want to plant things in between them like yam, maize, and cassava, you can leave 7 meters apart, because those ones too we need what they call sunlight. So you leave 7 meters apart, then in between them you are cultivating, and you manage the bamboo around so that it will not go beyond the space. So but when they come in, they will see that you have bamboo crops, there is other agricultural crops, so you are enhancing the biodiversity of that area. So I think with these few answers are provided, you be convinced more that bamboo can actually enhance food security in our country. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's a very, very insightful one. I want to now bring Nedima, please, as we're trying to wrap up so that people will continue with the activity of the day. Nedima, if you are there, please, can you just unmute yourself and ask your question?
Good morning, everyone. No problem. My question, what I wanted to ask, it has been addressed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. That's wonderful. Okay, let me also take on you, sir, on this question. Now, being an organization, Green Initiative for Humanitarian Aid and Development, an NGO, one of the reasons we have to throw some of these things open is so that we'll be well guided, because we're an organization that look at things holistically before we start advocating for them. This webinar is actually aimed at opening our eyes, opening both us and the general public, our eyes on bamboo as one of the things you can use to mitigate the impact of climate change. Just like he has said earlier, where you have gully erosion, you have a problem already. So if bamboo can help in compacting the soil, holding the soil together to reduce the impact of that erosion, then it's a plus for bamboo. So however, sir, what are the policies government can implement to promote bamboo conservation? Then secondly, what are the roles, or what roles do NGOs like us and international organizations play in bamboo for climate change mitigation? I don't know if you still have time so that I can take those two questions, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Well, you have asked me what are the consequences of bamboo before. I omitted one, but now that you mentioned humanitarian, it's also reminding me of what consequence a bamboo cultivation can pose. Bamboo fuel fire. Have bamboo. And so, because one, if you go to any stand of bamboo, you will see their leaves littered everywhere. Those are leaves, and in the dry season, if you dare ignite any part of it, it can spread and it can even burn down the whole stand. So, what you people can do as an NGO is also to enlighten bamboo farming communities on how to curb or to minimize the fire incidences, wildfire incidences. That's one aspect. Two, bamboo arts and crafts are becoming globally recognized now. And if you know very well from our African economic development, there is this African Free Trade Zone. And so since there is this African Free Trade Zone, it therefore means that every art or that you develop through mobilizing communities or schools or any kind of IDPs to do, and you make them of standard, they can actually be taken to be sold within the context of our own domestic markets to earn income for those people, and they can also be sold internationally at the African Free Trade Zone, and people can come in to buy them. So these are some of the aspects we need to look at. So you need to look at how you can bring up things that you can train people who are poor for them to have their livelihood. Thereby, you are contributing to goal number 1, which is poverty eradication of the Sustainable Development Goal. Then, in terms of climate change mitigation, which is a climate change action, on goal number 13, for you to promote that communities can be planting bamboo either at their river banks or at the erosion site, is also helping to as an action, a climate change action, which is promoting climate change number 13. And then goal number 13, I mean to say. Then on goal number 15, which borders on forest biodiversity, you can as well, since they grow very fast, you can as well take them to restoring of forest ecosystem or forest landscape. So here you promote that bamboo can be part of the species that will be used in beating up degraded forest landscape. You are also trying to increase biodiversity in that area, and so it's going to help in promoting goal number 15. So these are the areas you can look at. Aside, there is what they call I think goal number 8, which is on sustainable consumption. Sustainable consumption. Yes, sustainable consumption, whatever we are using with this natural resource to maximize its own benefit in the production of commodities that I've mentioned earlier, including that to which it can help in soil amelioration, like production of biochar, which can help to bring about soil amelioration, or making it to be used for green energy, because if you convert it very well, I'm very sure they can use them in some aspect to fuel certain things. So it means that we are using bamboo resource to promote sustainable consumption. So these are some of the aspects you can look at when it comes to what a humanitarian focused NGO like yours can do. In terms of the policy, Nigeria is just growing, and I thank God very much for, ever since I became an IMBA expert representing Nigeria with Professor Ebel, the Vice Chancellor of Dominion University. Two of us are the ones representing Nigeria. Since 2020, I have been advocating on policy change because I came from a policy making arena when I joined the civil service in 2008. So since that time, we are really working hard, and the federal government has taken it up. In fact, it's part of the renewed hope agenda of the president that bamboo is going to be scaled up within this. So the Minister of State for Environment, that is what he came on board with when he was appointed as Minister of State for Environment, Dr. Salako. So, and the Ministry of Environment is driving great things in this line to see how the policies can be formulated. I was a guest speaker at their first National Bamboo Day that was held in December last year. I identified these policy gaps, and as I speak with you now, Cybred has been contacted to bring up some policy lines for the country, and at this stage we are just doing literature search now, considering other countries where they have policies. So that is the stage we are in right now, and there are other aspects that we are going to work with the government. For example, in Anambra State, if you look at the policy of Soludo, not policy, what they call manifesto. The manifesto of Governor Charles Soludo, I think page 51 of it, where he was mentioning that if elected, his government will embark on massive planting of oil palm, coconut, bamboo is part of it. So if you look at the state government now, the Honorable Commissioner of Environment is working assiduously to promoting bamboo in their own afforestation projects and even in erosion control in Anambra State. In Benue State, we worked with the previous administration of Otom, and Autumn was about signing a very laudable project with us. Those of us that came wanted to establish 100,000 of hectares, but somehow he had a setback in his own with Governor Wike then. So he couldn't sign that until the new administration came on board. But with this administration, we have also engaged him. When he went to US to leading the delegation of Nigerian Governor Forum, my partner in US engaged him. So we'll soon be meeting with them in Benue State to reawaken this aspect. So we are not only working at the national level, by engaging them at the national federal level, we are also working with the subnational to see how it can be fruitful at this area. So we also engage Imo State. So these are some of the things we are doing. But Imo State, they gave us one forest, I think around Adapan Axis, for us to go and reforest with bamboo. But I've not really gone there since the good news came. So these are some of the things we can do. So you too can also look at how you can work, engage at community level, engage at schools level, or engage even at subnational level to these areas that we are working on. So I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have done that. Okay, we have a question from Salveline from Nezra. She said, my question is this. How come we are trying to embark in massive bamboo project in Nigeria, but we don't have a baseline study of bamboo? I think that one has been answered, but we can throw more light. We don't know the exact quantity or even species types of bamboo in Nigeria. Now, without this information, how can Nigeria attract investors or expand on this without being sure of its quality of to ensure sustainability? Then I think another question from David, so that you can take it. We're just trying to wrap up. How do we make this project in the remote areas, knowing well that they are not civiculturally oriented? I think the last question, the people, there's something we call indigenous knowledge, David, and the people in the rural area have indigenous knowledge of civiculture. I think our speaker can throw more light on this while we start thinking of wrapping up. Then finally, sir, so that I won't need to ask you another question. You are a director of a center. So you've talked of research gaps and whatever. So how do organizations, because I know there are so many EDs of several organizations joining this webinar discussion, how do organizations partner with your center or your institute to preach this same gospel of bamboo and other aspects of the environment? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. You said the first question came from Nezra?
Yes.
Okay. So it's good that Nezra is also following us here. Nezra is in charge of all regulations that has to do with environmental conservation and protection in Nigeria. And there is one regulation which is access to genetic resources. Regulation, I cannot really bring it up. It's also part of that regulation that you cannot just bring in or take out any resource, genetically resource from Nigeria without following or having permit from Nezra. But also the person that asked the question was asking, how do we promote exotic species without first developing our own indigenous? Since I've been talking here, I've never said we are promoting our exotic species over where we have been to and what we know and what we have here to sell out our own. And people who have gone to China for training recently, they will know that they will tell them that our own Nigerian species are not good for timber to be used as timber bamboo or so. That is theirs. But I told some of them that you don't do that. Studies have not been, we have not ascertained that through researches, so we cannot rule out our own. We are telling them that ours are only best for arts and crafts. It could be possible that ours could even be better off in timber production than in the way they are thinking in their own country. So we are going to do most of those research. The aspect of that question talks about how to, that there is no exact extent of bamboo. Yes, I will say yes. Nigeria is signatory to IMBA 2004, and since then, nothing much has been done. But if you go to the last report of Food and Agriculture Organization report of forest resources, FRA assessment, forest resource assessment report by FAO, which was released in 2020, you will see that Nigeria reported the amount of bamboo that is available in Nigeria. It's written there. It's there. So it's good. You can easily Google search it and get out the PDF. You will get it there. But what we need to do is that we need to uphold what exact thing it is, and that is what the Federal Ministry of Environment is doing. A process has already started, and it's now in my capacity to announce on behalf of the Federal Ministry of Environment, and I'm aware that they are already in it. Sooner than later, some of you will be called upon to join in the national bamboo assessment, so that we can have what it is to that we can be reporting as a country, a national figure for that. And you know that things like that needs money. So if those of you who can fund and support the Federal Ministry of Environment, you can as well look for funders to support them on how they can fund this kind of activity, because it's not a small activity. Personally, I've started that since 2020, but as I have told you earlier, it's not easy. If you are sending somebody to the field, you need money to transport those your research assistants to go to the field. And so some of them could not really go, and that is why it's in a hole. But the federal government is taking it over now, and sooner than later, before the next 12 months, I'm very sure that we shall have something to report as a country for bamboo availability in Nigeria. Now, the other aspect that has to do with the questions we have raised so far is that, yes, bamboo, we are advocating bamboo plantation, bamboo for everything. If you look at it right now, the bamboo available in Nigeria are bamboo in the wild. All of you that are present here, you can maybe disprove my claim. I want to tell you that there is no state or local government or even federal government that has up to 100 hectares of bamboo as a plantation. Just as you have malina, neem, teak, there is no country that has done. In fact, there are some states, if you go to, that you will not see bamboo in their nursery, in their central nursery. But I discovered that in Niger State. Niger State is the only state so far that I have seen from the 36 states, including Abuja, which I did a survey 2 years ago, that had bamboo in their central nursery. Kano State has bamboo plant growing there in their botanical garden, which is not nursery for this, is not in their nursery, but that one is already growing as part of what they have in their botanical garden. So these are some of the things you need to do. How many of you in Nezra, has Nezra ever supported or can Nezra show us where Nezra, as a regulator and enforcer of the environment, have a nursery for any of the 3 species in Nigeria? Maybe we should start from our Anambra here and start going to Imo State and start going to the Abuja headquarters. I don't think there is. So we should also look at how organizations that are into those kind of things should not just be saying enforcement, enforcement, enforcement. If you are doing enforcement, try to do what will promote the enforcement. So these are some of the things that we need to look at also, so that you can have a role to play. Every one of us have a role to play. I think with that, I've answered almost all the questions because they cut across all what you have asked.
You have done that.
So,
You have done
in
that.
terms of partnership with Cybred, we are open. We are just 10 months old. 10 months old. Just that God has been on our side to make us have a little impact within this 10 months old. So we are open, but our partnership now is that when you are coming, you can write to us. The moderator can make my contact available where they can email us and inquire what we can do together. But when you are coming, you also come with what you should do. Not that we will come to say that you are seeking for funding support from Cybred now to support you in doing this. We are not at that stage yet. In fact, we have not admitted the first set of students. We are at the stage of developing curriculum. What we are doing at this stage is trying to restructure our office space, trying to finish the curriculum and then get them approved, and then try to do more consultancies so that we'll create awareness through advocacy. That is the stage. So in terms of advocacy, if you want to partner with us, you are free. And if you want to also partner with us in some of the courses so that we can jointly develop skills related courses for bamboo entrepreneurship, you are also welcome. Thank you so much for this time. Thank you to the organizer for giving me this opportunity. And I'm happy to be here. And I hope that we will work together towards sustaining the environment in Nigeria. Thank you.
Sir, your microphone is muted.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you very much, Odinye. Thank you, John Agbobodo, for that exposé, and you have really opened our eyes to several things. I believe the NGOs, the CBOs have a lot to contribute in your mission and vision. We can also see how to provide funding for some of your projects, especially when a memorandum of understanding is being signed. We can take it further to start looking for funders, people that are interested in what you do, provided a good project that have verifiable means of their progress is being in place. The NGOs can also help in sourcing for funding to implement some of these things. I also understand the concern of the person from NESRA. Of course, we can't just fold our hands and not do nothing. Okay, we have to start from somewhere. So if you look at the aim of this webinar is to actually open people's eye to some things, not like the speaker said. That's why we started. The question was with the negative impact of bamboo, because we need to know the negative impact, then have the research gaps and so on and so forth. Then we move from there. Okay, Rome is not built in a day. And of course, when it comes to the policy aspect of it, the regulatory law aspect of it, of course, NESRA had to be contacted because they are the regulatory body empowered to do some of these things in Nigeria. However, ladies and gentlemen, we've also seen the need to have like a central group where we drop some information as regards to eco-evangelism, because we're going to be having seminars, we're going to having webinars, we're going to having podcasts, on several topics, because like I told you initially, Eco-evangelism, we just want to take the passion from people evangelizing for religion, okay, and beliefs, and channel it into environment so that people will start behaving right, because we believe that once people start doing the right thing, the environment becomes normal for us, because whether good or bad, we are the first beneficiaries of whether the bad action to the environment or the good action to the environment. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I will be dropping a link for a WhatsApp closed group. That group is not for discussion, it's just for information, such that at times where emails cannot serve, we can just drop information on our next program, our next webinar, and so on. Then we also want...
Please, what's the full meaning of seed bread? The full meaning of seed bread, please.
Okay, Director, sir, the full meaning of seed bread.
Okay. SeedBread is Sahelian Institute for Bamboo Research and Entrepreneurship Development. It has the support of INBA, and is going to be teaching master's, PhD courses, and short courses to 16 countries in Central and West Africa. The headquarters is here in Nigeria at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka. The Honorable Minister of Environment is the chairman of the board for SeedBread. SeedBread, if you look at it as in the abbreviation of SIBRED, the English word, if you check the English meaning, it means relationship. So we can always partner.
Can you go over that again, please?
Okay, I will drop the name on the comment box. Okay, so I just dropped a WhatsApp link where you can just join a WhatsApp group where we drop information on eco-evangelism, strictly on eco-evangelism. We don't discuss there. Please, lastly, ladies and gentlemen, we want to tell you to please turn on your video. We want to have a group photograph for this webinar. Thank you, Silverline, if I'm not calling the name well, please. Okay, turn on so that we can have a group photograph. Your videos. Thank you very much. Jayoba, thank you. And Abdul Karim, everybody, thank you. Please, we're expecting your videos to be on. Also, while we're turning on our videos, I want to also recognize the head of the Department of Forestry and Wildlife in Nnamdi Azikiwe University that joined this call. Also, we had several people that joined, like Professor N.T. Meludu. We have Charles Ntor, and several persons. I'm still waiting for your videos to be on, at least so that we can have a group photograph. I hope that this webinar worth your time. This is a Monday morning, and we know several people have several things to do, but carving out time to attend this webinar shows how important the environment is to you, and we are not taking your time for granted. And we will say from Eco-Evangelism that we love you, because this is a very good start for us, that people could take time off their work hours to attend something on environment. So we also expect we have several episodes. We just started with 1.0. We have several episodes coming up, and we have several things in line. And of course, in one of the meetings, I think I will also contact the people from NESRA. In one of our webinars, we want to have NESRA to tell us about these laws, these regulations, because we keep hearing NESRA, and we need avenues like this to educate people that even in Nigeria, we have a regulatory agency. Okay, I knew NESRA because I studied forestry and wildlife and up to PhD. Of course, I must know NESRA, but I believe there are people that don't know NESRA. So through this hope that